Melissa, do you have an update for us?
Hi everyone, Melissa Bustamante. Can you all hear me? I just have a few quick updates. One, we're hiring for a few positions. If you know anyone available, we're hiring in our marketing department, my team. We're also hiring in the information technology department as well, and same with our operations. There's a few, in wastewater, there's a few mix of opportunities there. If you know anyone in the industry who wants to work in public service, we're looking. My only other update that I have is I wanted to promote our water efficiency assessment. So if you're a customer of ours, this is absolutely free to you. All you have to do is call our customer service line. They'll get you set up. If you are having issues with saving water, or you want a tech to come out and check your irrigation lines, check your faucets for leaks, things like that, we can do that totally free to you as a customer. We've always had that, but I don't think it's really known, that frequent for our customers. So give us a call, we'll get it scheduled. The appointments, if a tech comes out to your house, they do it for free again. And the appointment's only 30 to 60 minutes max. So just wanted to share that because I know that, irrigation is one of the heaviest costs when it comes to your bills. Another thing too is we have free dye tabs. I forgot them tonight, but I will be bringing them next month for you guys. If you ever want to check your toilet for leaks, I'll have those free for you guys as well. That's it. Any questions?
What's the number?
It's 951-571-7104. All you have to do is just ask for a water efficiency assessment.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, Police Department, we've got a new representative, Mr. Munez, going to come up and introduce himself and give us a quick update on what's happening with the PD.
Can everybody hear me fine? I hate using the microphone. All right. I'll never be accused of not being loud enough, right? My name is Lieutenant Juan Munoz. I'm the new area commander. Our area is a little bit different. They don't necessarily follow the wards. They used to at one point, and then we started drawing, with our eyes covered with the wards, right? So it's east, if you know, is pretty much everything on this side of the 91 freeway from downtown all the way up, all the way out to the city limits over there, and kind of towards the north end. But just a few updates that we have. We've expanded our PSET, the homeless engagement team. We're going to staff it with 4 more officers there. The city's going to match us, so they're just getting some cars and stuff. We've added 4 more motor officers, so our staffing is really good. We're quite lucky in our city where our staffing is almost fully staffed, which most police agencies don't have right now. So we're really fortunate to have that, and having that, we're staffing our what we say special assignments, or these specialty units, to get out there and combat the livability issues that everybody's kind of faced with now, right? But we do have that luxury of moving those bodies away from patrol because we're fully staffed, and getting them out there where the people need. So I just started in the position just a couple weeks ago on the 30th, so just getting to familiarize with everybody in the different areas and different groups. I plan on being at every meeting that I physically can. Some of them conflict with others, and so if I'm pulled away, I won't be there, but LaShawn, everybody knows LaShawn. We should make t-shirts that say that everybody knows LaShawn. So she knows, she'll get me anything that I need if you guys have a concern, and we'll make sure we take care of it. So thank you for having me. I'll be here for a while. If anybody's had any questions, I don't want to hold up the agenda. The question and answers I know will get.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How many homeless people are in our area?
I don't have that count for you, ma'am. I'll be honest, I don't. I know they're doing a new count. I just don't know if the number is out. And then when they do break them up, we wait for the county to get that number. So I don't have it.
I saw a policeman on University talking to a homeless person. So I was wondering how many people homeless.
Yeah, we don't count them.
You don't?
No, we don't. The county does, but we don't count them.
Is there a facility you can take the homeless to?
There are many.
To get out of the rain and cold?
There are many. There are many. So if you didn't know what I said with the PSET, with the public engagement team, they can offer services. They can offer some immediate services, immediate shelter, get those people. We have what's widely used. I just came out as a watch commander for 2 years. So if you don't know what the watch commander is, it's like the mini nighttime police chief. It's like an air traffic controller, but for cops. We kind of oversee everything that's going on throughout the city. City of Riverside has one 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So you always have a lieutenant who's in charge of the city, and they have operational control over every emergency response, unless it's like a SWAT or a major incident. And even then, we still do. So having said that, just hearing the services, sometimes people call, they're not happy with what the outcome is, say if there's someone there and we can't get them off the property. There's tons of things, like there's a sobering center now where you could take someone and we take them to a sobering center where they're not going to jail, which is huge because the alternative was taking them to jail, then I take that police officer off the street. And if you didn't know, the jail has, they have nursing staff that are from RUHS. And they have certain criteria to take people to allow them to be cleared for booking. Well, what that means is if they meet some sort of criteria where they're not comfortable accepting them as prisoners, my officer's out in the field for about 3 hours while they take them to Parkview or Riverside Community Hospital to get clearance from a separate doctor to say that that prisoner is okay to go into jail. So we kind of do a weight test. If it's just public intoxication or something like that, now we have the sobering center where we can take them to get help. And there's no criminal prosecution involved with that. We just want to get you some help. It's right outside. It's down on County Farm Road behind the Lowe's. Everybody knows that's where the county mental health facilities are. So now they have a variety of services there, which is helpful because it just depends. It's not just one. We used to have just kind of one solution, right? Jail or the mental health institution, right? Now they have different facilities. There's a place where they can go voluntarily and get mental health treatment, and they can walk in on their own. We just help them, assist them in getting there. We also help the mobile crisis team. If you guys know what that is, you've seen the billboards. We'll assist them when they're unable to transport someone on their own, but we still just assist them. So we do a lot where we don't have the criminal prosecution part of it, so they don't have to fear, per se, getting in trouble, where we're just assisting them, getting them the services, making it safe for everybody, and being available to respond to 911 calls.
Quick question. I know I'm from Western Water, but I live in the area, and I know someone who is homeless, doesn't do drugs, doesn't smoke anything, just made some bad decisions financially, but he was trying to get assistance, so I was trying to help him a little bit just by Googling and what I know the resources, and Path of Life Shelter near
Healing.
Yes,
Healing
off
place.
that street. I gave him that resource, and little backstory, he did try to go, but I mean, they only have like 40 beds,
There-
which isn't a lot.
No
so-
one's here from Housing and Human Services, right? So the city has a whole department where they offer the services. I think I have some of those cards.
You can call 311.
311 for everything will take you there.
Yes, I recommended that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. okay.
And then the city does though, so if you didn't know, for the teams that go out there with our officers, they offer them services right on the spot. So if they
Yeah.
found an encampment, would you like some placement? We can get you in a temporary one if we can't get you into Path of Life. And they have different criteria
Like
for the types.
backup options.
For sure. There's tons of services, and we usually don't have a lack of services, we have a lack of people that are willing to accept all of those services, because there are strings attached with it.
Yeah, of course.
But the city is very, very fortunate to have as many services to be offered as they do in conjunction with the county. The county provides a ton of them too, and we have teams out there 7 days a week offering these folks help. Somebody else? Yes, sir?
Did Lieutenant Merrill get transferred?
Yes, sir. She's back. She's a watch commander now, so she's where I was.
Well, she's the air traffic controller.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When ICE comes into the city, do they at least extend y'all the courtesy of letting you know they're
Sometimes.
going somewhere?
Sometimes. So I happen to be the watch commander during when the surge happened here last year. At the time, we did get some notifications. They would just give us a list, like as any other law enforcement agency would do. And the reason they do that is so that you don't have like that blue on blue crime. Like we get a call and say, hey, there's 2 guys with guns outside my house. Well, we don't know they're burglars. We don't know if they're FBI agents. So they'll call and just say, hey, we're serving a warrant at these 4 addresses. And usually they tell us that. And they don't tell us anything else. Usually they don't always say ICE. They'll say agent, they'll say HSI, they'll say FBI agent, DEA, because there's a few of them on each individual team. And they would just let us know, and they would let us know when they were gone. The ones who didn't tell us, and they routinely don't, and we know this from past experience and speaking with them, was the U.S. Border Patrol. they routinely just don't notify. They just show up, do their thing, and we know we've had those incidents in the city. That's their protocol. There's no requirement for them to tell us, other than professional courtesy, and they should, to keep everybody safe, right? But they don't. And then ICE, like I said, it just depends. Most times they do. Most times, because it makes it safe for them too. Any other questions?
And so if we see somebody that looks like they need help, homeless and so forth, what should we do?
The 311 app, just like she was saying, and the 311 app's really amazing if you didn't know, because it goes from everything from homeless folks to traffic. So if you have a traffic concern and everybody's running the stop sign at, Orange Terrace and it's between these hours. Well, you report to 311. That's how our traffic officers get their workload. We track, right? We have an analyst that tracks the most dangerous intersections, where the most complaints are, where the most accidents are, and that's where we try to focus our enforcement. I know a lot of people, they say, hey, I got a lot of speeders on my street. Everybody does, right? COVID, once we stopped enforcing traffic laws because we didn't want our motor officers contacting folks, everybody kind of just got out of control, and then we're kind of reining it back now, trying to get, make the roads safer. But 311 is amazing, and that is exactly, and we do it, it's statistically based on how we do the enforcement, based on where the most accidents are, where the need is, where the fatalities are. We try to get out there to make the roads safer. So just keep reporting it, and then we're able to compile, like in the list of prioritize where we need to enforce. And then enforcement is going up again. We added those 4 motor officers, just so you know. That's a total of 16. We had just been up to 12. We were down to 8. So in the last year and a half, we're doubling our motorcycle officers, not to mention the other police officers, our accident investigators that we have out there, taking these other traffic collision reports so they can free the motor officers up just for enforcement.
Is there a shortage of police officers in Riverside?
Not in the city of Riverside, so I mean, we're very fortunate. I worked at recruitment. I did 2 tours in recruitment, and I just left before I quoted. Very, very fortunate. We have a great police department. We have a super supportive city. We have competitive wages. We're a great bedroom community. People want to live here. A lot of our officers live here. I just was at a meeting in Palm Springs where other officers were talking about, hey, are you guys still hiring? We're very fortunate to have almost fully staffed, but it's for a variety of reasons. Great leadership from City Hall, especially our chief, and then the community that really, really loves us. So we're very fortunate in the city of Riverside to have this police force. We really are. The services we provide are second to none. On any given night, other agencies would call us to ask us for help to do something, in the region or whatever, just because they just don't have the bodies to do it. Sir.
Someone online wants to know if, using the cameras, you can stop the trucks from going down Alessandro.
Well, we can't stop them. There's certain limitations on traffic cams, if you know, like the law with the red light cameras and things like that. But we were just at a meeting. The CHP has committed to assisting with the commercial enforcement. So I know they're stepping up commercial enforcement. We had a commercial enforcement unit. Previously, we didn't have for a while because the traffic unit itself had shrunk. But with the help of the CHP, they just did another rolling, I want to say a rolling checkpoint is what they call it, like those inspection points, where they move it throughout the city, so you don't have to have a fixed location. And I know they focused on Alessandro and all the way down through Central. But the CHP is helping with the number of teams, and they've offered to help and not only train our folks, but also come and help with the enforcement, because it is their function. A lot of it comes to the freeway, cutting through the 215, so you should see a lot more of that, especially on the main line, the Central, Alessandro, and Van Buren. You will see a lot more enforcement.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you.
All right, give him a big hand. I'm sure you'll break him in real good like you've done the other.
We've been knowing each other forever.
Okay, just anyone here from the fire department? No, there wouldn't be a fire today. We've got too much water, right? City? Yes.
Hi, everybody. My name is Phil Pitchford. I'm the Public Information Officer for the City of Riverside. I just want to bring 2 things to your attention. Sorry, holding it too close to my mouth. I'm going to pass these out, this QR code. We're doing a survey of how people want us to do our budget going forward. There's a bunch of multiple choice questions. You get to rank things. There's one thing where we give, everybody gets $100,000 and you can give 20,000 to this or 40,000 to that, nobody to that. It's kind of interactive. We're trying to make it more than just a question and answer. So I'll hand these out. It's also, you can go to our website, versailles.ca.gov, and find the link there. It's open to, it's been open for about a month, and it closes at 2 o'clock on Monday. So you have can't imagine you'd want to spend your weekend doing this, but you'd have your whole weekend to go over it. It only takes like probably 5 minutes to do, and it's super helpful. The other thing is, I think some of you know the city is discussing potential ways to add revenue to the budget through a number of different possibilities, one of which would include either extending Measure Z and increasing, it's a 1 cent sales tax, increasing it to 1 1/4 cent. The city council, there's probably, I think, 5 different options, and the city council will be voting on March 3rd about what to put on, or what, if anything, to put on the ballot. And then, so if you have a strong feeling about that one way or the other, you can contact your elected officials either by phone, email, e-comment, come to the meeting, call into the meeting, all the different ways you can interact with us. But that would be, I think it's the afternoon of March the 3rd, and then whatever they do from there would be on the June ballot. And Denise can obviously tell you a lot more about that. But that's it for me.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk a little bit more about those tax options after we get our presentation. One more little announcement before we get Denise and Lisa up here. The March JPA canceled another meeting again, as most of you probably know. They scheduled one each month and then canceled it. They canceled the last one. And also, for those of you that might be keeping up with the RNow, the West Campus, Lewis Development has started demolishing the buildings over there and doing demolition, and from what we understand, it's been without a permit. So they've been demolishing buildings and moving dirt around, and that's a highly toxic area. There could be a lot of asbestos in there from buildings. That was a nuclear area where they stored nuclear weapons in the bunkers, so that is not virgin soil. That stuff's been blown up, shot up, turned over, turned up, side down since 1918. So.
Excuse me, I missed the precise location you were talking about.
The West Campus, where RNow is talking about, up here, right up here in.
Yes, but you were saying the buildings there, those old bunkers, they're destroying them already?
Well, they're destroying some of the buildings that were on the land, the old buildings, remnants of those, and potentially taking down telephone poles and starting to do demolition, which they need a permit for that. And from what we understand, they did not get a permit.
Who can go and stop them?
Well, we already called the county and notified them, the code enforcement, that they didn't have a permit. We contacted RNow contacted March JPA and said, look, they're out there doing demolition and they're on a permit. From what I understand, the answer was, well, it's their land now, they can do what they want. So you'll get more of that from RNow. They're sending out emails and updates on it and taking pictures of it. So if any of you live over there, pay attention to what's going on, take pictures of them and forward them to us or to RNow of the demolition. Yeah.
The West Campus of what?
The West Campus Plateau, where the RNow, the warehouse, they were going to put the warehouse in.
You said it's the West Campus. The West Campus of what?
The West Campus Plateau, they called it. I'll put a map up later to show you exactly where it is. But it's the area that basically, Lisa can put up a map, she knows where it is. Anyway, they're starting to demolish things over there. They were going to put up the big warehouses, the million square foot warehouses and all that stuff in there that got stopped, and they held that up, and now they're in there demolitioning what's left of remnants of buildings and structures and telephone poles and so on. So they're moving dirt around.
Was there some type of back channel approval for them to do whatever they want with the property without community support?
I have no idea.
Did the supervisors council or did the county?
It would have been the county. The county now is in charge of the land, so it would have been the county.
Supervisor Medina.
Yep, contact Supervisor Medina.
Warehouse is right and left. Well, he voted against the warehouse.
No, you're not.
No, we did the last meeting we were at.
Well, that was your meeting, but he's putting in all
Where
kinds
do
of.
you live?
That was in Lee Valley.
Oh,
And he's
okay.
putting in 1,300 acres of warehouse.
Okay, we'll talk about it some more when we get done with our presentation. Thank you. Sorry, Denise, I didn't mean to do this to you. So Denise is here, the city clerk. She's been very helpful to us in a lot of things. We ask her for stuff and information and public records. Her staff has always been great in responding to everything that we've asked for, meetings and everything. We're grateful for her to be here again. And she brought Lisa with us, who is one of the best kept secrets down there because she
Was done in Cienfuegos. I am your city clerk, and we are here to share with you a little information about our Go Vote Riverside campaign. We want you to know that your voice does matter. Elections are important. I don't know if you heard, but we do have a city election on June 2nd. And we're going to give you some information pertaining to the election, how to vote, when to vote, who's on the ballot, and so forth, or who may be on the ballot. And then I will then tee it off to Lisa Pierce, who's a member of our Information Technology Department. As Mr. Lewis stated, she is our best kept secret. She is a GIS analyst. And about 2 years ago, she and I started working on a campaign to make data decisions in this case, election related on where people are voting, how they're voting, and how we can better serve our voting community. So we're gonna go a little bit into that. So as I stated, our election is on June 2nd. The contest that we have on the ballot is wards 2, 4, and 6 for city council. This is our new map. As you know, we went through a major redistricting campaign and a new map was adopted in 2023. Some of you that were in perhaps Ward 4 are now in Ward 2, and some that was in Ward 2 are now in Ward 3, and vice versa, or Ward 1, and now you're in Ward 2 and now you're in Ward 1. It just depends on where you live on the map and how you were affected by redistricting. Now, the conclusion of our redistricting efforts will take place on June 2nd. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you were in wards 2, 4, and 6 at the time that the redistricting new ordinance was adopted, you were a delayed voter, which means you were delayed voting for approximately 6 years. And now you will get an opportunity to vote, and it was because you were in a odd number ward at the time of redistricting, and once the new map occurred, then you are now in an even number ward. It's a little complicated. You should have received something in the mail back in 2024, and you'll receive another postcard as we get closer to the election. Now, as Phil Pitchford mentioned earlier, he kind of stole my thunder there related to the ballot measures. We could see up to 4 possible ballot measures, one up to 1 or 4, depending on the action of City Council. But they will be discussing that matter on March 3rd in the afternoon. I recommend that you tune in. You can watch us on Riverside TV, you can access the meetings on our website, or you can watch it through your local cable channel. But that's what's on the ballot. Now, who's on the ballot? This is a list of our prospective candidates. We have about 13 candidates who have expressed interest in running. They have done so by either submitting the proper documentation through the state or by pulling their papers in our nomination period opened last Monday on February 9th. And so far, all of these names and candidates have pulled their papers to run for office. As of today, we only have 2 qualified candidates, and our qualified candidates are in here in Ward 4, Jessica Katawi and Rich Vandenberg. Now, all candidates have up until March 6th, which is a Friday, to turn in their documents to be nominated to run for office. In the case where the incumbent or the current council member that is not running for election or does not pull papers and run for re-election, those nomination periods will be extended until March 13th. And we suspect that will take place in Wards 2 and Ward 6. Any questions about the prospective candidate list before I move on? No? Okay. So, and I just want to address, because it came up already, how a candidate is nominated. A candidate must be nominated by 20 registered voters in their ward. And there's a process. The signatures are vetted by the county. If you sign one petition, I recommend that you do not sign another, specifically for someone in that same ward, because you can only sign one nomination petition. And the candidate that submits their nomination petition first is the candidate that will get the credit for your signature. These are key dates that I want you to pay close attention to. As I mentioned, February 9th through March 6th is the candidate nomination period, and I misstated earlier, I said March 13th. The extension of the nomination period is actually through March 11th, so not the 13th, and that is on a Wednesday. March 7th through March 16th is our public inspection period. Our public inspection period is when you are able, as the resident, to look at the nomination documents that's been submitted by all candidates. If you take up issue with any of the statements that were mentioned in either their candidate statements, their ballot designation, their conflicts of interest, this is the time you will mention those grievances with the city clerk. Not to say that it's a valid grievance, but this is the period where you would mention those to me. You ever wondered how the names are listed, how the names are determined on the ballot? Well, the Secretary of State does a random draw, and on that date, well, March 12th is when that random draw will occur. And they basically pull all 26 letters out of a hat, or however they do it. And the random draw is based on your last name. So depending on how that letter comes out of the random draw is how the order of the names on the ballot are determined. And so that drawing will take place on March 12th. And then soon after that, I will have an official candidate list on the city's website, and it will be in ballot order. So the names will be listed as the same it would be on your ballot. Okay, and then on April 23rd through May 23rd is when you should start receiving your official mailing material in the mail from the county. Vote by mail will start on May 2nd through May 26th. I'll get into how you can drop your ballots off, where you can mail them in, postage is paid, or you can drop them off at different vote by mail locations throughout the county. The last day to register or to vote, or to change your address will be on May 18th. And early voting will start on May 22nd all the way through election day, and June 2nd will be election. Now, Riverside County is now a voter choice county, and that basically means that you can vote anywhere in Riverside County. And that vote center will be able to pull up your ballot for all contests that you're eligible to vote in. So for example, if you're on vacation in Palm Springs and you don't think you'll make it back in time to vote in Riverside, you can go to a vote center in Palm Springs and they can pull up your Riverside ballot. And the same is true for your vote by mail ballot. If you want to mail your ballot or turn your ballot into any vote center in the county, you can do so. But this is a list of our vote centers that are in Riverside. These locations are subject to change. We don't anticipate any changes, but they are subject to change. The green locations are the locations that will be available for 11-day voting leading up to Election Day. This Orange Terrace Community Center will be an 11-day voting center. Right now, they have identified the ballroom. I don't know if this is the ballroom, but the ballroom will be the vote center. Okay, Now, this is our election web page where you can find all information pertaining to the election. We're really proud of this site because we have made some advancements in terms of how you can access information. If you look at the right margin over how do you run for office, that's something we started maybe about 1.5 years ago, just giving information for those people that were interested in running for office but was really excited about it maybe 2 years before the election happened. We wanted to provide them with information on things they can do to get ahead of running for office. We also have the Find My Ward link. Lisa will go more into that, so I won't go into that too much. We talk about political signs because that's a major topic in the city, especially if they're in the medians, public right-of-ways, on utility poles and so forth. We make sure that that's available to anyone who wants to know anything about political signs. Voter resources, where do you access voter guides and things of that nature. And we're really proud of our campaign finance portal. We are automated now. So all of our candidates are able to file their, let me get into campaign finance. What is campaign finance? Campaign finance is, the law requires that candidates tell you, they disclose who they're raising money from, who's giving them money to their campaign, and how they spend their money. And then there's a scheduled, there's scheduled dates that they must file their campaign their campaign disclosure documents. Well, it's automated now. They can do that on an automated process, and it's searchable. So before it was a static piece of paper, I'd scan it on PDF and then I'll put it on the website. Just not really user friendly. But now we're happy with that advancement that it's automated. The candidates are happy. I'm sure their treasurers are happy that they can submit their documents through an automated system. We talk about our Fair Political Practices toolkit that's available. I have circled there the city precinct voting trends, which Lisa will go into. I'm really excited about our new advancement with voting trends and how we've been able to track that in our last election. And then the list that I showed you earlier is right here on the bottom. Right now it says prospective candidate list. Eventually it will be the official candidate list. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa, who will give you some information for GIS efforts. Okay.
Well, one of the things I wanted to mention is that I think, Brian, I sent you a link of a PDF to your mail about these links that you see up here. There's a PDF I created that allows you guys to go access all of the available public-facing applications that talk about election. And what I'm showing you tonight is a little bit kind of a high-level view of what is geographic information systems, as well as what is, why is it being applied here in the election context. And so I wanted to kind of go through a little bit about that. I know most of you use Google Maps on your phone, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. Well, I consider GIS, it's Google Maps on chocolate. So it makes you, it's really, really fun, or maybe steroids, but it's more like chocolate. Anyway, it's legal. So what I wanted to talk a little bit about, I think I'm going to pass on the video. I can show a little video later, but the main thing I wanted to talk about is there's some things on the let's see, where's our, I'm going to go back down over here and go to our, yeah, here. Yeah. So this, speaking of what she was talking about, I created this to, oops, it's not showing on the right stage. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, there we go. There, now it is, okay. So we can close that. Yeah, here. Can you make it here? It's, there, yeah, there. So this is a new application I kind of built actually today that allows you to go find your voting location near your home, or if you know the center that you usually vote at, this is gonna go live pretty soon, and I just need to do a little bit more working on it. But I wanted to show you, the idea is looking at where your neighborhood is, and also looking where the precincts are, so you can kind of see which precincts are closest to which areas. And so if I want to, I could go to Orange Tree Center, and it will zoom me right down into the map. So it's an interactive map. And since I had to build it quickly, I didn't have the tool that lets you go type in your address and see how close you are to the closest voting place. That's next on the agenda. I wanted to show you that because, and I want to sort of give you a sense of what the way GIS is working now is we can share with you a lot of information so that you can get more visual information that's sometimes easier to understand and consume. And one of the other ones we have that's on the site is what's called Find My Ward. And in this case, I can put in an address, but I'm going to go down here to this area, and I can click on my ward, or I can go down to an address and find out if I'm right close to a boundary. I can go and look who's my council person, right? And then I can click on their link, and it will go actually to the city's website and talk about the information about your candidate. So that's partly what Find My Ward does. It lets you figure out where you are in the city in terms of the new districts, right? The new ward boundaries. And so that's one place. And also the other part of this is it allows you to see where your neighborhoods are. What I wanted to show you in this is sort of a generic way for you to access GIS. You have ways of turning on, in all of the applications, you usually have an ability to go and turn on. So if you want to go look and turn on, say, an imagery, you can turn on imagery, and now you can see the maps in the imagery. So you can use these maps for different purposes. I also have these tools up here. I have a legend that tells me information there. And then I can also go turn off layers or turn on layers. So I can turn off this, and I can turn on my my boundaries for the different neighborhoods. So these are kind of standard tools that are inherent in some of the applications that many of you may be familiar with. ESRI and Redlands, they're the ones the city uses their software called ArcGIS Enterprise, and these are many of the tools that we're starting to develop for more open awareness. And one of the ones I wanted to also tell you about is what's called Map Riverside. Map Riverside is basically our GIS portal. So those of you that might be interested in doing your own, travel into learning a little more about GIS, we have a large amount of data that's actually publicly available for you to download and do analysis on your own, because there's a lot of free GIS resources available to you. And there's also some things in here, and you were mentioning earlier, this is a crime analysis application that's on here from the police department, and I won't show it detailed here, but it is on this site. The police department tracks all of the crime available, in a certain area. And so if I pick a date, it will let me, and I can click to focus in, and let's see what gives me here. The day, well, let's see, yeah. So it starts to put on. Well, yeah, we have to filter better, huh? So anyway, the idea is you could go see what kind of crime is in your neighborhood, and to some degree, I believe some of the homeless reporting that's coming in from the 311 call center may be ending up here. There's sort of a line between if people are reporting to 311, if you have someone that's maybe causing some trouble, you can call 911. But if it's just trying to report there's some things happening, you can call 311, and they'll put a note to go remove some debris and that type of thing. So 311 call center is really, really helpful, and some of this is being displayed in this environment. We also have another application for homeless response. And one of the other maps that I don't have tonight with me handy, and I don't know if it's public yet, but we do have a map that tells you all the resources available for helping to support homeless response. So all the agencies that are available for veterans and things like that, I'll see if I can find it before the end of the night. The other thing to know about is Map Riverside. Map Riverside is our application that allows you to go in and query information about a property in terms of the acreage and things like that, and a number of information is available. And so as we zoom in, we can see that certain layers start to turn on. And most of this is to do with our cadastral mapping, our parcel ownership. It doesn't have any ownership information, it just has the parcel location. And as you go in here, we're kind of in the process of updating this to be a little bit more user-friendly, but we're getting to the place where you can go in and create a report. So you can go to your house and pick on a parcel. Well, no, I need a parcel. Let's see, let me get a parcel. No, I need a parcel. So let's see.
Find out you don't own it.
Pardon? Yeah, right, exactly, right, that's the problem. Let's see, oh no, my parcel maybe isn't on. But anyway, I want you guys to see that there's a huge amount of resources that we haven't done very well at letting you guys know where to go find information. The last part that what I wanted to say is show you, I go down to the bottom of our Map Riverside, we have the cool warm centers. You can go find out when it's cold or hot. You can go to most of the centers like this one. And also, these are all of the different kinds of data you can go download. So you can go to public safety, you can get hydrology data, civic data, and this is where you can download GIS data. So if you're working on a project and you want data to do your own analysis, for those of you with kids that want to learn GIS, good place to start and learn. So now going back to our topic of, let's see where we are here, let's see. This one, engage. All right, let's see, here it is. So this is another way of what we call, it's a way of telling a map, story mapping. And the idea is that I have a story I want to tell, and I can go through either through the side, or I can go through by going through different slides. And so I'm integrating maps in conjunction with the information I want to share with an audience. And so this is a small story map, and we call it kind of a briefing. It's a little bit like a PowerPoint, but the element that's different is that it has an embedded maps in it. And what I wanted you to see here is that we have, the goal is to really get the vote out. And one of the things that we did in 2024 is, and I'm going to open up, this is I kind of had fun with the colors, but the idea is that you can see very quickly, hopefully, where the lowest amount of voters are in the city. What you're looking at is percentages of how many people voted relative from the number of registered voters and the ones that voted. So what you're looking at is a way to see, well, where do we need to do some voter outreach, right? I mean, imagine taking a spreadsheet that I had to do to put this into the map, and you have to look at the spreadsheet. You can't really tell, but the minute you put it into this visual environment, you have a really powerful way to see where you want to work on things.
I can't see the legend, so which color?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. So basically, the legend is that the darker the orange, the higher the percentage. So this might help a little bit. So if you see the and this is what I have another version of this in a different colorgram, because sometimes this might not be too good for people that are colorblind. I tried to work on that a little bit. So the bigger the pie, the higher percentage of the voting, right? And the smaller the pie, the lower. So it kind of, the pie size goes along with the color ramp, right? So it's two ways of looking at the information. This map is also something you can open up and you can interact with too, and you can also find different things. So I'm gonna go back here, and then I'm gonna go to the next version of it. This one is looking at the numbers, and let me look up, show the, oops. I'm gonna show you the legend here, and this is the sum total of the total registered voters is the black number in the bottom, and the higher number is, the top number is the number of voters that voted. So you can sort of see how we got the percentage, right? And this kind of also gives you a sense that in this case, the lighter areas in this case are the higher areas in this case. So you can see over here. So in this case, and this is one of the reasons I want to show the difference. You have to figure out what's the best way to tell your story with color that says is red hot? Does that mean it's good, or does it mean it's the area you need to work on? So in this case, I'm saying, well, where it's blue, that's where we need to work. And on the other one, it's a little bit opposite. So I just wanted to give you kind of examples. I was kind of doing this to kind of get an idea of what works for us to tell the story better, right? So, and this one is, let's see, oh yeah, and this was one that was for the council members. This one was showing the number of votes per council person. And basically, if I click on it, it will give you for the different wards from the 2004 election, how many votes were cast for each representative. And the reason I'm showing this map is because one of the goals we have for this next election is to get the whole map filled in, right? Because we only had those are the ones that were voting last time. So we're going to try to update that. And one of the things that I want to get some feedback for is kind of how we can work at making this more consumable for the average, public, because this is a little bit esoteric sometimes, but I want you guys to understand that we're really trying to get the vote out and help you guys get so let's see, go back to my oops, this one, and then see, and then, pardon? Oh, the mayor one. Yeah, this one? Yeah. So this one's probably the one that really tells the story. So what I'm hoping is that the map that lets you find where your voting place is, you can type in your address, go figure out where you are, and then for those of you in neighborhood regions, have the opportunity to start looking at where you can change and work on different data sets. Now in this map, let's see, you can't turn off layers, but you can kind of see that if you click on these areas, they tell you the percent turnout, and that's represented in the bubble. Oh, which one? Oh. Oh, yeah, right, yes. Oh, right.
So let me ask a question.
Oh, right, okay, yes.
Okay, so let me ask a question. If you were a candidate, what data would you want?
If I was a candidate, what data would I want? Well, probably I would want to know if I'm in like certain areas where I don't have as much coverage, right, of voting. I would want to know where those neighborhoods are. And let's see if I can go back up to, let's see, where's the one by counts? Yeah, see, this is the new one that we, oh, let's see, there's, oh, yeah, well, actually this one here, Yeah, that one, yeah. But I also want to be able to turn on the neighborhoods to see where, because these are precincts, right? That's where we're using it. So what I'm trying to do is figure out where neighborhoods can find out where they want to work. And I think one of the things too is since there is data available for finding the streets, you can find the streets in the area so you can look at your canvassing plan, right? That would be one thing too. And there's all sorts of options for doing some of that automatically sometimes. You can even look up on ESRI's webpage, they have all sorts of maps for doing that type of thing. But the other thing that, let's see, what other one?
Can I?
Yeah, sure.
So the question was, how can a candidate use this data to either support their initiative, their get out the vote? This information what we have so far, we only had a small subset because at the time in 2024, we had the odd number wards that had active contests. In addition to the mayor's contest that was citywide, a candidate could look at this information and determine, do they want to focus on the high propensity areas where the voter turnout is higher and focus their efforts in that way? Or do they want to target the low propensity area and get people who wouldn't ordinarily vote to vote? What I can tell you is that everyone now receives a vote by mail ballot, right? So if you have the resources, if the candidate has the resources as a candidate, maybe perhaps they want to do a get off the vote campaign with vote by mail voters. But this map will tell you where the low propensity of voters are, and maybe if it is, for example, a high owner occupancy community, which means the community is homeowners, perhaps you want to spend your resources there. But if it is a community where it's a high renter occupancy, maybe that's the reason for the low voter turnouts, because people move in and out. So you may not want to focus your resources there. It's really all about the strategy that the candidate would like to ensue during their campaign period. And there's different approaches, right? That's what makes campaigns so dynamic, is that it just depends on how the approach for that candidate. But we want to give you this information, not just for the candidates, but also for you as a voter, so you can know if you want greater impact in your community, perhaps you can use this information to get the vote out in your community. You want to be part of the change that you want to see. And if your community isn't voting, you can use this information to guide them to vote. You can say, our turnout is low, we want a new representative, you have to vote. Go to the city's website, you can see what that turnout looks like, what it looked like in 2024, and then we'll have, after 2026, we will have data, two elections for you to compare. And then you can use that data to determine, why did they come out more in 2026 versus in 2024? So we're building up on this data set for you, and we will continue to do that as we have more elections in the city. So I hope that this information is not just helpful to the candidate, but also helpful to you as the resident and as the voter.
And I think what I wanted also to say is if there will be a way for you guys to access some of these, but you can also go to our webpage at the city and go to the maps. See if you go here. If you go up to the open data portal, Map Riverside, and if I go, let's see if I go back, yeah. So when you're at the main page, let's see, I'm going to go back here. If you're at the main page, you have this option that says Engage Riverside. And when you hit Engage Riverside, that gets into all of the data sources. So you have your open records data, your budget and finance, your open data, that's some of the legal documents that are publicly shared. And then there's this maps button with the globe. And that's where you can go get a number of interactive maps that are here. and new ones will be updated, including some of the ones I've mentioned today. So right at the top, we have our map Riverside, and we also have a historical viewer. If anyone's interested in historical resources, we have a whole interactive map for historic viewing. So with that, and then we also have RPU's outage map. That's kind of handy. That's if you have an outage in your neighborhood, you can see we're kind of looking good today. It's a boring map today, good thing. So anyway, thank you, and if you have any questions, yeah.
Yes, I don't know whether you flashed on it quickly, but it was, do you have a crime map?
Yes, and that's on this site here. That this is the crime map right here. And let's see if I can filter it better. But when you zoom in, the filters, let's see, crime types, and let's see if I have burglary, counterfeit, drugs, embezzlement, extortion, offenses, family violent, and then I can search for other offenses, but I don't know how much there's one of those there. So, but one of the things that I can see if I clear it. Let's see if I can check it off. But you have a way to also look at how much the date range that you want to this month, for example. And I'm gonna clear off. Let's see. I'm gonna see. Show selected. No, I want to clear it. Let's see, where's my clear? So then it will put on all of them and you can, I believe you can also search for these are the number of items summarized right now based on the filter in the last month in the view, and so this is the number. So this is a kind of a handy place to go look at the real-time data for crime in your neighborhood, and that is on the Map Riverside website. And then this one is cool. I know we're more worried about the hot, but right now we can also go to warm centers. So you can pick from an address, and you can type in, say, 20010 Orange Terrace, and it will take me to the closest from a certain location. It will route me from how to get from one place to the other. So this is the functionality I'm going to try to add to the voting location. So this is also for people if someone you find is homeless and they need to go where to go to be warm. This is an option too to find it. And I believe I think some of these are designed to be on a phone. So if you go and look you can access some of these on a phone too. So they're kind of a way to help find that. So. And Brian, you had a question?
Well, I'm just gonna say, I checked and I do have the links you sent me, so I will put that up on the website.
Okay, cool, yeah. So what you guys can go get and play with it. You can't really break it, so I wanted to make sure you guys could get to it. So we have so much information and we just have to do a better job of letting people know that it's here.
When we were down there, Louis and I were down there, I know you have a training place for the GIS. Is that something we could set up a class and show us what we can do?
Well, part of the question is whether we could do some sort of workshop training. I think right now the scenario for that lab is they were very old computers and they were getting rid of them. So until the new ones are in place, I don't know. I think they usually use that for public or city staff for training, but I don't know. We will have to ask some of our information expert over here if there's any possibility of requesting something like that, because usually it's handier to do it when you're in a place where people have a computer and that would make sense. I don't know how much we would be able to support that. My job is to actually build these things, but
You're asking for more taxes, and I'm telling you, you're not sure you can support it,
oh no, we can, but I don't know if there might be other people that could do the training. I don't know, I would love to, but I don't know if my bosses would want me to. But the other thing is there are opportunities. UCR Extension has a GIS program, as does UCR. I know that also, just so you know, you can go on the ESRI website, and actually that one is, yeah, right here, what is GIS? And you can go to this site, which is also on the first links. This is kind of a video, and I don't know if we have sound. Do we have sound on here? Let's see. I don't know if we, but you can look at this. That's why I decided not to do it, but this is a video that sort of gives you a sense of some of the ways GIS is being used in every industry all over the world to manage all sorts of data, and all of our departments are using it to do a lot of other data management and evaluation of land use and planning purposes and things like that. We also have a new sustainability team. In fact, we have a sustainability map that I was going to try to show, but I'll send you that too. It's where to find food pantries and food support for and SNAP locations. So, and what's called food deserts. Where can I walk to food, and where can I walk to food, right? So that's some of the things. And then, so you can go down to the bottom. There's a video about what is GIS, and then these are the ways you can go find it. And there's all sorts of free training on this link too. So ESRI gives away GIS software for students, and also for non-professional use. You can buy a software online for very reasonable. I think it's well, it depends on if you're doing the online versus the main software, but it's about $100 to buy a license, I think, these days for non business related. So, but anyway, there's just a lot of really cool things in here, and I don't want to keep you guys too much longer, but does anyone have any more questions?
Any more questions? Everybody's GIS out?
Yeah. That was a lot of info.
Yes, it was.
Okay, we got a few more things to talk about while I'm getting my computer set up. Jessica Katawi is the other candidate that's on our board that's running in Ward 4. Jessica, do you want to take a minute and see if there's any voters here?
Jessica's already.
I actually, within 24 hours, I submitted my paperwork, and I have a position on the ballot. So I appreciate that. I'm very eager to serve my community. If we haven't chatted yet, I'm Jessica Katawi. I'm running for City Council, Ward 4, and I did run for mayor in 2024. I did receive 9,000 votes, but not enough to win. So I'm back, and I am part of quite a few boards in Riverside. I'm part of the Neighbors That Are Together. I'm on the board of Mission Grove Neighborhood Alliance, and I'm the president of the Riverside Neighborhood Partnership. And I'm very involved with the community, and I'm a little bit different because I'm not a career politician. I'm here with you guys every meeting, and I'm out there and I see what's going on, and I'm here to be the voice for the community and for the residents. So I hope I can get your support. I have an event on Wednesday at Grapal. If you've never been to Grapal, it's one of the best restaurants in Ward 4. I love to support local businesses, so please come join us. It'll be a meet and greet fundraiser. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I have flyers, and I do have my cell phone number on there because I want you guys to know I'm here for you, and you can always reach out to me. And thank you.
So let's give Denise and Lisa a big hand for coming out. Okay, we've got a couple other things to talk about. We've got some tours that we've managed to secure for the group. And we're gonna send out a link for you to go on and see which ones of these tours you might want to participate in. We've got tours of the Burtech transfer station. That's a great tour. Brian and I took that tour of the Burtech, how they separate the trash and so on and put it through the recycling. We learned a lot about what you should put in the recycling and what you should not. Things like garden hoses, you might think it's recyclable, it's not. If you put a garden hose in the recyclable thing, it'll get wound up like a rope in the machinery and it'll tie them up. And also like the thin plastic that comes on a new mattress, right? That big plastic cover if you buy a new mattress, that'll turn into a rope and wrap itself up in the thing too. So you don't put those in the recycling, you put them in the trash. Anything that's small, a small little thing like a bottle cap or the cap on something, do not put that in the recycling. Those are too small to go through, and they do this. So you learn all that on that tour. We got a regional metro water recycling facility tour, Corona Farms, the Henry Mills plant, which is right up here in Alessandro, here in Mission Grove, a tour of that plant. They don't normally give tours, but we've secured a tour there. That is a fascinating place. That thing goes down underground, and it looks like something out of a James Bond movie that the bad guy would house all his gear at, all these huge contraptions and stuff in there. It's very interesting. Behind the Curtain at City Hall tour, Supervisor Medina's office has offered to give us a tour of how the supervisors work and so on at the county building. Traffic Management Center, that's an interesting one. We've seen that. Riverside Water Quality Control Plant and the Western Riverside County Regional Wastewater Authority. So we'll send out a link to everyone. You can just give us whether you're interested in any of those tours, and then we'll put dates together. We'd like to get at least 15 or 20 people for each one to participate in those. Okay, a couple other announcements. The city, for the city council, they had the Safety, Wellness, and Youth Community Committee met on October 15th and forwarded a recommendation to the city council to raise the fine for semi-trucks from $100 to $1,000 fine for semi-trucks. The problem is it has not come before the city council yet that we know of. And they could have made about $50,000 between now and then in giving tickets out at $1,000 a pop. And we've already figured out a great place to do it where Overland crosses Alessandro there, where it goes into the tract of homes and then it dead ends. You can pull about 6 tractor trailers off on that road on both sides and still get through. You can have one officer standing out there in the intersection, just mosey them in. And they can come right back out and go back the way they came. I think if you start doing that on a regular basis, it'll get the message out that people are going to get caught. We already have videos of them going through our neighborhoods at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. So we don't know why that's been held up. New construction projects, we've had a hard time getting communication back from the planning department. As far as we know, the Van Buren and Wood apartments, the 65 units there across from Ace Hardware, got approved because it was already pre-approved for the zoning, so they didn't have to go before any real approval, but we haven't heard anything yet on it. And the 180 units for the Kmart that came back as townhouses, we have not been able to get a word on the progress on that so far. As far as we know, it's still in planning. Other city-related news, the mayor's having her senior forum on March 12th, I think here at Orange Terrace at 10 a.m. And other news, we're continuing with our Magna investigative reports. You know, we've done those in the past. We're going to coming out with some new ones. We've been doing a lot of investigations on the March JPA that we did before and some others. So we're going to have some updates on that coming out very soon. The Riverside Election Integrity Team with Brian and I are both on. We met, had a special meeting, our group, with the county supervisors. They scheduled a special meeting just for us and the Riverside Register of Voters to give their report on the last election, where we found that they counted 45,000 more ballots than they received. Now, I've been on airplanes where they've warned me that things multiply in the overhead bins when you're traveling, but for ballots to multiply, so we've got a bit of a controversy over the counting of the ballots and how many ballots get into the machines and so on. So that continues, but we had a good meeting. It was about two hours long with the county supervisors reviewing that, and they have elected to research it further. So we have a lot of people on our group, a lot of really dedicated people that are math and spreadsheet people, and we get all the data from the ROB and then go through all that data and try to verify all the ballots that they got compared to all the ballots they counted. And the last several elections, they seem to always be counting more ballots than they received every time as opposed to less. Now less I would expect because you have ballots that get destroyed, ballots that weren't marked right, ballots, you know, so you'd expect them to always have a few less that don't get counted. But more is kind of a bit of an odd. So we're working on that. Brian and I will also be busy next week for 3 days for the CERT Train the Trainer class over here at Ben Clark. We've been trying to get into that now for a while, so they're finally having one of those. So we'll be CERT trainers, so we can give CERT classes for the county or the city. So we're hoping to do that because one of our main goals here with the group is for us to be emergency ready when there's a big emergency, so that we can be ready as a group. Here's an example of the trucks that I mentioned going through the neighborhood in the middle of the night. This happened to be an Amazon truck going through Mission Grove. And they were going through Mission Grove down Cannon with these speed bumps, which obviously slows up the truck, right? And we don't know why they were doing it. Here's the 180 units for the Kmart that's been proposed. The nice thing about this project over the original one, it's about half as many units, and they're 2-story townhouses with a 2-car garage for each one. So they have ample parking as opposed to just an apartment. So, now, the mayor had the State of the City address, a couple of points pointed out there. She reported that there was $4.3 billion in new construction. I haven't been able to verify that. She pointed out there was 18,000 new jobs. I don't know if those are new net jobs or new gross jobs. I have no idea. She reported that water and electric is the lowest in the area. It is, except we don't get the benefit of the water, those of us that are up here on the hill, even though we are part owners of the water that the city owns. So that's something we've been talking about for a while to the city and to Western. She talked about the water park, the soccer stadium, and the Riverwalk as if they were approved projects. They have not been approved by the city council. They've only been going into negotiations to talk about them, but they have not approved them. But her and other city council members are talking about them as if they're approved. One of the ones that got me was the 51 miles of roads resurfaced. Now, 51 miles of roads in Riverside is almost 900 miles. That would take 18 years. Now, to give you a comparison, Moreno Valley resurfaced 190 miles of roads last year, as opposed to 51. And they filled 2,000 potholes. The city of Corona, they did over 100 miles. So we did 51 miles and we were proud of that. So I'm not sure how that went. So, yes. So the other thing is she talked about new companies that are coming in. Omeo and Voltu we're familiar with, Hyundai, but SPT and Chevy were two that are newer ones. And I looked up Chevy. The mayor and one of the city council members went to South Korea and got Chevy to open a place. Now they do EV charging stations, the ones where you pay, paying EV charging stations for electric cars. And they signed an MOU with them. Basically, it's non-binding until the city council approved it, but it had a number of clauses in there that troubled me. Like they were going to help them find investors and help them promote their business, and even though we were going to buy a number of the charging stations, they were going to be in a profit-sharing mode or something on them. It just, I don't know, it puzzled me. But the one that really got me was SPT, Stored Power Technology Systems. They were in Corona and moved into Riverside, and they basically sell like the Tesla batteries for your home, backup batteries, that kind of thing. That's what they specialized in. But when I did my research, I found that a year ago, February, this month, there was a congressional inquiry into stored power technology systems, and it remains a critical oversight matter focused on national security and foreign influence. The primary driver of the investigation is a formal inquiry led by the House Armed Services Committee. The core concern, the inquiry addresses disturbing allegations that SPT may have direct or indirect ties with the China State Shipbuilding Corporation. The China-based Shipbuilding Corporation is a state-controlled Chinese defense entity that is currently under U.S. sanctions due to its role in the People's Republic of China military-industrial complex. Lawmakers are investigating whether SPT, despite its public branding as a U.S.-based woman-owned business, is acting as a proxy or cover for Fang Fan Company Limited, a known China State Shipbuilding Corporation subsidiary. So a former letter was sent a year ago demanding detailed documentation from them, including ownership and funding, contractual ties, legal compliance, and so on. And there's been no update that I could find. So the committee has explicitly warned that failure for them to provide exhaustive answers will result in a referral to federal law enforcement for further investigation. They will not be eligible for any type of federal contracts, and so they're worried that they are here on behalf of the Chinese military. So that was two of the companies that we had. And Boltu and Omeo we're familiar with. Omeo is the little self-driving buses. They have them over by the airport. I don't think they've got their DOT approval yet, Department of Transportation approval to go on the streets. Amazon has one they're doing on the streets now in Las Vegas and San Francisco. There's a number of companies that have them out there that are doing that. And then Boltu is the company that makes the larger 1-ton service trucks and all electric EVs, and they are based over by the DMV, right off Alessandro, and that 40,000 square foot building on the corner that was brand new, right next to the DMV. They moved into there. We went over there and visited them. We've invited them to bring one of their trucks over so everybody can take a look at it, take a drive in it. They're pretty neat. They're 350-mile range, and what's unique about them is the charger is built into the truck. So you don't have to have the separate charger on the wall, you just plug it in and you can recharge. So we've invited them to come over. Maybe they're going to have a grand opening of their manufacturing facility over there. When they do, they're going to invite us to come over, so we'll let you know on that. So, yes?
Does SPG have an office up in Representative Swallow's district?
I don't know. I know that at the mayor's address, there was a group there from the consulate from the People's Republic of China. They announced that they were there. So I don't know if they were there because of that company or just their period. We're still going out and introducing and getting feedback from people on the Orangewood City possibility of taking part of the city and separating and merging with the county to create a new city. We mentioned this before. We're still working on that and scoping out the viability of that here in the future. So we're still working on that piece. And along with the roads thing, I wanted to show you the city, just in one of the city council meetings recently, approved another 12 miles of repaving. And there it is, with the little circles. Now, the areas for Ward 2 and Ward 4 is this little tiny cul-de-sac right here. It's going to get repaved. Now, I don't know who lives there, but somebody important to get that repaved. And then the other one here is the Circle Street up in Sycamore Canyon. Now, anybody here from Sycamore? Yeah. Now, my guess is the people up there would probably rather have a fence around that park to keep the people out at night than they would have had it repaved right now. But they're going to repave that. But the point is, these two in wards 2 and 4 total about 2 miles of the 12 miles roughly that they approved. The rest of it's all in the rest of the woods. Can you notice that most all of it is residential streets? They're not repaving main streets. It's the main streets that need to be repaved. Alexandra and a lot of them that have potholes. These are the ones. So this is part of this year's approval. They approved to do 12 miles of repaving. And that's not all complete repaving. Most of it is slurry. Covering it with slurry. Most of it is to cover it with slurry. The slurry is that oil-based stuff with sand mixed into it. And they spread it out, and then the sand, you know, gets in the way and so on. We had it one time in Mission Grove where they put slurry down. So I think about 70% was going to be slurry and about 30% was going to be repaved out of the 12 miles. So that's the start of this year's repaving. I just thought that was funny to show the map and show that Ward 2 and 4 got 2 miles and the rest of the wards got the 10 miles. So the other thing I wanted to mention briefly.
Louis,
Yes.
regarding the 12 miles, do you want us to bombard, flood them with emails of that we don't, that this is too little an amount, we need Main Streets to pay, like, do you want us all to just flood them with emails?
Yeah, well, we want them to do more, but I don't know what they budget. But here's the map of, this is a complicated map with all these color codes. These are all the streets and when they plan on repaving them according to the 24 and 25 and 25 and 26 legend on the right. And so you can see the areas that they're doing. Some of these they've already done. They've already done part of the area here in Orange Terrace. Now, the one here in Mission Grove, Cannon, that was redone by the Water District.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
The Water District ran a new line in, and we questioned, you know, about them repaving it, and so they repaved almost the whole street, all the way from one end to the other. So I don't know why that one's on here, because that street has been repaved and is recognizably repaved in Mission Grove. Now,
Speed bumps.
with the speed bumps, yeah, and they put the speed bumps back better than what they were before. Now, they repaved Mission Grove here from Troutwine to Alessandro, which was fine. The problem was they went in and redid the median, which didn't need to be redone. It had nice grass, green grass, and it had hedges, and the hedges were there for a reason. It kept people from driving over the curb, right? Because if you can't see the curb, you have a tendency to drive over it. So there were hedges where the left-hand turn lanes were. Well, they took all that out and put plants in that looked like weeds. And they replaced the grass with like bark. And now the weeds are coming up through the bark. Where the grass was, to me, was easier to maintain. You just mowed it every couple of weeks. But the other problem was they didn't fix the real problem, which was the sprinklers. The sprinklers are still spraying out in the road on the asphalt, and right where those spots are where the sprinklers is where the asphalt will get dug up first, because when water hits the asphalt, it digs it up more with the cars driving over it. and they didn't address the sprinkler system. So, just more, and they have all kinds of maps on this. You can go in and see what they've designed. Here's all the different areas in the city that they've earmarked. Here's this one over here is one that's earmarked as part of that 12 miles. Here's the other one here as part of the 12 miles. Now, the little cul-de-sac that they had in here off Washington, which is right here, that wasn't even marked, but it's getting repaid. Well, maybe something happened there or something, I don't know. I went into Google and looked at these on Google. The maps are about 6 to 8 months old. I didn't see anything, that happened. Maybe a car burned out or something and messed up the asphalt or something. Nothing there, so. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention was the Quality Inn. Everybody is aware of the Quality Inn piece. It's been all over the place, 114 units. No. Okay. The Quality Inn down on University was up for the city council to turn it into a Section 8 housing. They were going to buy it and turn it into Section 8 housing. So basically it means that people that are at the 30% or 50% income level can get lower rent and live there under Section 8 housing. And they were going to try to make it available to homeless and veterans, priority. But Section 8, you can give people some priority, but you can't lock people out and wait for people to come that are veterans or homeless. If somebody comes and qualifies, you can give it to them. So they were getting $20 million from the state, and then the city was going to put up $10 million, and then they were going to create this. But the project would have been secured for 55 years. So it would have to be supported for 55 years, which would cost $50 to $100 million over that 55 years to support the staff and taxpayer money and supporting it during that time. And for the 115 units, it's not a rehab center. It's not where you go in and you're on drugs or alcohol and you get rehabbed and you move out and somebody comes in. Once you get in there, you can stay there for life. As long as you're in that income bracket, you can stay there forever. So it's pretty expensive just for 115 people to have housing for life. So it got voted down and the city council created a big fury. A bunch of people wanted it, other people didn't want it. It would disrupt the businesses and so on, because none of the people that are in there, they can volunteer for rehab or drug abuse, but they don't have to take it. So there was a number of things, and in that, my problem with the issue was not so much the project, but how it was presented. And this has been going on for a while with the city staff. And the problem was the city staff really didn't report things, all the facts. And it was brought out by Sean Mill, who started asking a lot of detailed questions. And then when you got those answers, you found out exactly what was going on with the project that should have been revealed in the report. And the city staff has been doing this now for a while. They get a project they want to do, they're promoting the project. In other words, they're not giving objective data to the city council for them to make a decision. They're giving them biased data on how they want them to vote on an item. And this was a telltale sign of that. So I wrote a piece that I was going to give the next week to the city council in open session. The trouble is they ended up with like 100 more people coming to complain about the project, so I wasn't able to. But just to give you some excerpts of this. The public trust and community engagement in and how our city makes decisions. This is not a comment against or for the project. Public interest means decisions that serve the overall well-being of the community, not the preferences of the staff, any one elected official, or any particular group. Public trust means that we as residents have handed authority to our elected officials and expect them and the staff who support them to act independently, objectively, and transparently. When information is incomplete or selectively presented, the trust is damaged. In this case, Councilmember Mill had to pull critical facts out of the staff through questioning instead of seeing them clearly laid out in the staff report. Staff reports should not be advocacy documents. They should be factual and balanced so that council members who are reading hundreds of pages per item and make fully informed decisions. When key data are filtered or downplayed, unelected staff end up shaping policy outcomes even though they are not directly accountable to the voters. The mayor has a full-time role and a sizable staff. If this project was a priority, that office had the time and capacity to scrutinize the proposal, question staff's assumptions, and insist that all relevant information, benefits, risks, and alternatives be discussed well before the vote. The mayor also has veto power, which is an important public trust tool when needed. The mayor said that projects like this have to be community-led and community-supported, and that we should be able to link arms around them. That is what genuine community engagement should mean. Residents who are informed and involved early, heard fully, and able to see how their input shapes the outcome. But the process we saw doesn't match that. The goal appeared to be a 7-0 decision before the meeting even started. That's what they were looking for. Time for the public comment was reduced. 43 people spoke, but the meeting minutes only recorded that number. The minutes did not show how many people were turned away by time limits, how many submitted e-comments or emails, or how many were for or against. On an issue this significant, treating public comment as a box to check rather than a shared problem solving is the opposite of community-led. Core questions. If the council makes decisions based on filtered information, if the mayor's office does not fully challenge and clarify that information, or if residents are limited on how much they can speak, then who is really shaping city policy? Who is truly responsible for protecting the public interest, and what role are we, the public, allowed to play? Public office is a public trust. To protect that trust, we need staff reports that are objective and complete, a mayor's office that uses its authority to insist on transparency and independence, and a council that treats public comment and community engagement as essential, not a procedural hurdle. Most importantly, based on the mayor's own words, that major projects by community-led and community-supported, not just community-informed, after decisions are effectively made. Residents should insist on, and not just for this project, but for every decision that affects our city's future. So, that's how I feel about it.
You could have written the same thing after the Kmart fiasco.
Yep.
It was the exact same thing.
That one, the 380 units by the airport, that
Sears
project,
building?
the Sears building, same one.
Is that go through or no?
Yeah.
That went through, oh yeah, that's gonna be built. You haven't seen it broke ground yet because they've still been negotiating some things with the builder and so on, it takes time.
380?
380 units, 1 mile from the end of the airport. That's why the Air Land Use Commission didn't approve it, but the city overrode it.
Wow.
So,
I have a question.
yeah.
I don't know if it's the right time to ask, but when is the vote coming up for the cargo flights?
You mean for the March JPA?
Yes.
Well, they keep delaying the meeting.
So it hasn't even started?
They have not, they delayed the meeting 3 times now. They scheduled it and then delayed that meeting in order to vote on it. So it's still up in the air.
So do they give advance notice?
They have to give advance notice for the meeting, yes. Any other questions before we pack it up? Yes.
Did you say that Kmart is 2-story?
2-story townhouse is what has been proposed now with a
Oh, so
garage
not
underneath.
3 stories, 2 stories.
Well, it'll be 3 stories with the garage underneath.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not a question, it's just to inform everybody. So last week, there was a fire workshop held in here, and I don't really think I saw anybody that's in here right now at the workshop. But basically, on May 2nd, they're gonna send out a letter to everybody and let you know that if you live within a certain area, you're gonna have an inspection done on your home, a fire inspection. And they're gonna basically tell you if there's anything that could be hazardous, and you will be responsible to fix it. Now, they can fine us but they said they're gonna try not to. And then the second part of that meeting was the Firewise, so they're trying to start a neighborhood, it's like a neighborhood watch, but it's for fire. And it's called Firewise. And what I like about it is that if you start one of these groups in your neighborhood, you could potentially get a discount on your home insurance. But it depends on your home insurance. If you didn't know about that?
I talked to the fire department, they're gonna come and do a presentation for us on Firewise.
Next month?
I'll sign up.
Perfect.
So
Great.
we can create our own community group right here, Firewise.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna light a fire, let us all know. Okay, here's our next meetings. We're having a meeting for the board next week. It wasn't normally not a scheduled meeting, but we're having it because we have to make some decisions on investigative policies that we're going to be incorporating. March 11, we have the Public Works. April 8th, we have the City Manager. May 13th, we have Supervisor Medina. And June 10th, we have the Police Chief. So, any other questions or comments? Thanks everyone for coming. It's cold out there. Bundle up on your way home.
Thank you.